Hello, welcome to the next installment of The Sojourn of Jesse. I, of course, am Jesse, so welcome. I hope if this is your first time, I hope it's impactful and you watch the rest of the videos. And if you're coming back, I welcome you back. Thank you. Today, I'm gonna get into the reason why I guess I named the channel The Sojourn of Jesse is because this is gonna be a story that has a lot of different stops and places, and I'm gonna dig deep into some of those places and try to give you some insight as to what I'm trying to do. This really stems from the beginning of what made me change to actually go from 650 pounds to who I am today, and that would be the death of my brother. My brother got sick in November of 2020, and he died April 19th of 2021. And he went through a lot of things, and he died from processed food. One of the last times I saw him, my brother was overweight. He was probably about 350 pounds, I'd say. And his stomach sat on his legs, and one time he came over, and in a month, his stomach went from being over his legs to being over his actual knees. He had developed leaky gut to an extent that I had no idea what this even was. And when I saw my brother, I was shocked. I was like, how'd you gain this much weight? And it's his system was leaking. His digestive system had become porous, and it was leaking all of that intensely bad waste right into his body. And I didn't even really realize it at the time because it was it was fairly new. Like, people didn't, we hadn't experienced like that before. People had experienced, but I'd never experienced it in my life, and I found it quite shocking. And I listened to my brother, and I heard him suffering, and coincidentally, I got the same disease, just not to the same degree that my brother had it. I never had leaky gut. But his death was really, really impactful to me. It shook me and rocked me to my core. And I knew that I was walking the same line, except I'm 15 years older than my brother, and that his fate was going to be mine. And it terrified me. And I spent lots of time in prayer after he died. And I was begging my brother to put in a word with the big man for me upstairs. And he listened. And it was so impactful to me. One day, it was maybe a couple weeks after my brother's death, I started eating less. It was during the time of COVID, and I was ordering 2 meals at a time, to save the fees and everything. And I just noticed that not only did I not eat the second meal, but I wasn't even really totally, the first meal, I was eating that throughout the day. And that's different because I was eating terrible food, and normally it has a bigger hold on me than that. And I didn't realize it at the time, but afterwards I realized that's when God actually entered my life, is when I prayed for him, and I was so shaken. And he showed up. I started eating less. And even though when I got to the hospital, I was over 650 pounds the last time that they estimated it. And then for a year and a half or so, I didn't see a doctor. I just did video appointments. So we really don't know where my weight actually was. But in August, when I was taken with liver failure, and my blood wouldn't carry oxygen, so I was hallucinating, and it was a scary place to be. But when I woke up and I got to the hospital, I was read the last rites. They went to my mom's house. It was a terrible ordeal. She ended up being in the same hospital with me, because she tried to take her life after finding out that her second son was not expected to live. And that's really hard for a mother. Please don't judge my mom. She lost her son maybe within 6 months of that, 5, 6 months, and so then she almost lost me. And I understand her despair. But when I got to the hospital, the amazing thing is that I was 550 pounds. And so you can imagine I wake up after being basically I was asleep for days. I was, for the first 3 days I was there, I wasn't conscious. And then I wake up and I end up finding out, oh wow, I lost over 100 pounds in between the time that my brother died and now. And so that was a big shock. I didn't get any of my health back, which is very important to this story. It wasn't until I did keto and got serious that I actually started making inroads on all of the major health conditions that I had acquired through eating like a trash panda and not understanding the how serious it was, and how every time I was going back to processed food and eat, and which at that point I had never left, I was adding to the problem instead of subtracting. And what I would say is, through prayer, I got answers. And at first it wasn't, the answers were not as what I get now, but I was led to do certain things, and in my journey, I was probably about 550 pounds, and I went to the hospital and was read the last rites again a month after my mom died, which was April 22nd, 2023. And then I was hospitalized in May. I was read the last rites again for the last time, I might add. And during that hospital visit, I met a doctor who actually pointed me a month later to the truth of processed foods and sugars were the thing that was taking me out. And so within a month, I found keto. And all this time, I'm praying and I'm asking for answers. And it was 2 years after I was diagnosed, basically, almost 2 years till I found the answer, which is keto and fasting. And I had already been praying. And I could say that because I had opened a contract with sin. I didn't know that processed food was actually that deadly to human beings. But it's also one of the main things that I actually totally am convicted in, is that eating it, you're sinning and you don't realize it. But it does such destructive things to your body that it drags your soul down. Your body becomes the gateway, and once your body becomes so compromised, it opens you up to sin. And so a lot of us are committing sins by polluting our body with something that God would never want you to eat, because of what it does it it ruins your body, and then it spiritually breaks you. And so on my journey back, I've realized that the more in tune and the better that my body is running, the more it opened me up spiritually to receive enlightenment. And so I was moving in that direction, and I had some help. I met somebody who actually became such an influence in my life that it made me pick up my Bible. It made me watch biblical content. And knowing the Word is nourishment to your soul. And so that's what actually, I would say, brought me along the most, is my ever-increasing relationship with God. He gives you the wisdom and discernment to see things that you overlook and that you don't normally see. And one of the things I would say is, when you decide to be obedient to the Word, that's when things epically change for people. And it doesn't happen all the time. It happens, but it doesn't happen quickly. You have to be in the Word, and then you get the blessings. Your faith is rewarded, and then after faith becomes, you trust the Word. And so you develop a relationship over time that's going to take you to amazing places, give you the strength and fortitude to stare whatever it is in the face. And you will understand in time. Your inner voice will tell you which way to turn, which way to go. And if not, it'll definitely tell you which way not to go. Prayer and faith and fasting all go together. And fasting is one of the keys to your health. It tells your body it's not time to build, it's time to repair. It's time to go in and clean up all the garbage and get it out. We don't have oil filters. We don't come with replaceable parts. You have to nurture and care for the parts that are within you that need care. All of your organs, your blood. It's all about what you eat. So yeah, you can eat whatever you want, but don't be surprised when, the bill comes due and you're looking in your pockets going, I don't have enough to pay for this. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So many of these sayings make so much sense, except that we've become so disconnected from them that we don't actually listen to them anymore. And this is all about trying to find your center, because you need that. You need that peace in order to build off of it. You need to have a solid foundation in order to ascend to higher levels. So just like the rejected cornerstone that became the cornerstone, that is what you need to become for yourself. And the only way that you're really going to achieve that is by having a relationship with Jesus Christ. There are other religions, and most of them talk about prayer, fasting, and discipline. So if you're one of those other faiths, I suggest that you please go to your faith and talk to the Lord, And I hope that this can strengthen you and lead you to a place of understanding where, when you have a relationship with a higher power, you get to depend on them for your strength. This is a failing that I had in my life, where I always thought I had to be the strongest one. I always had to endure the most. And I never gave my afflictions and my pain and my suffering to a higher power so that they could deal with it for me. So that I could benefit from the strength that they have, that God has. And I could lean into that. It is very, very important, because you cannot do it all on your own. I made a good start of my life, but I was doing it on my own. So I would say, learn about autophagy. Please come back, and I'm going to expand more on what I've been eating, how I've been doing it. But this is going to be a part of this channel. I am going to be discussing the Lord, and I hope that you can accept that as part of this, because I really, really have a desire for everybody to get their health back, to everybody to get the pieces that they're missing back. I want people to be able to save their loved ones, because I know what it's like to live life alone. I've been alone ever since my mother and brother died. I have a couple of very good friends, but it's not the same. So this is to say, please protect your people. Please operate from a spirit of charity and love and compassion. They're the only things that matter. All the other stuff, those negative emotions, being down on yourself, being down on others, it doesn't serve you. So stop serving it. And, it's all about the choices we make. Are we going to feed the good wolf, or are we going to feed the bad wolf? I pray for you. I hope you have a blessed day. Please come back, share, comment, subscribe. I would like to have more interaction with everybody. And since I've been through a whole lot, I just want you to know this is truly a safe space for you. Okay, be blessed. Bye-bye.